What would you ask of younger people, people who are coming up, maybe even a 17-year-old kid who wants to do what you do? What would you ask of them or say to them?
Well, the biggest thing is to learn how to express love.
Nice.
That's
perfect.
the biggest.
I'm looking at your list of albums, and I know you've made a lot more music than that, but it's just vast. And there's just a lot of, and I can't find anything that's not original and powerful and moving. How do you know what to do next? Sometimes it seems like one album ends and you do something completely different after that. What's the decision making? Do you think, well, I want to do something completely different, or is it because you feel refreshed? How do you know what to do next?
I work by inspiration.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
I'm not in a race with anybody.
Right.
I'm not competing. I don't really care what happens over yonder and over there and back there, because essentially I got a lot of work to do. I don't hang out. I don't have like a bunch of friends that come by or call up every day. I don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm just basically, I call myself an organic loner.
Okay. Okay. Well,
You know.
maybe I'll come up and have lunch sometime, you know? We'll be loners together once or something.
Well, we can do that. I've had
All right, I
lunch
got him
with-
on camera saying yes. So there you go.
I've had lunch with a couple of people, but what we do is we go to a sandwich shop that I know that has mushroom sandwiches, and we sit outside and bask in the sun while we eat. And once it's over, they go and catch the train, and I go and catch my car
That's good.
and ride it back home.
So you simplify your life enough
Yeah.
that you can see what's important.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about, her and I, about this moment where inspiration comes. You might be working on a piece for 3 hours and then the answer comes to what you were looking for. Or you might put it down and be walking down the street the next day and it hits you in the face, like out of nowhere. Can you tell me how to make that moment happen more often?
Yeah. It's quite simple. To open a drawer, you have to first reach out and pull it open. Okay. And the same thing with inspiration. The Almighty gave us inspiration because everything that we see comes from inspiration. Okay. And it has a map. And that map can be mapped by understanding the sensation that the physical body has and connecting with what happens inside of the mental apparatus, and then connecting that with the heart. You see, because the brain, the heart, and the physical body, they all got different triggers. Okay? And so when you're being inspired, if you pay close attention to that, you can feel what that's like, and it can be generated anytime you want it to be. I can give you examples. Old man Bach, the German guy, it is said that he has something like 16,000 pieces of music. Well, he didn't live to be 1,600 years old.
Right.
No, I think he died when he was 68 or 70 something, at the most. Okay. Duke Ellington, who lived to be 83, I believe it was, or 84. 73 or 74. Okay. He has something like, they say 75 to 8,500 pieces of music. Okay. Now, do you think that they sat down and waited 16,000 times to be inspired?
Well, the answer people usually give when teaching is you just get up and you write a bunch and you write a bunch and things, you know, then you like this one or whatever. But it doesn't seem like your music.
That's not true.
Yeah, your music seems inspired to me. So,
Well, no, inspiration is just like anything else. If you don't eat ice cream for 10 months and you used to eat it 2 or 3 times a week, the next time you go to ice cream, you have to rebuild the taste. You know why? Because once you put space between something, its value change. And once the value change, you have to reacquaint that value to yourself. And the same thing with being inspired. If you don't really understand how you're being inspired, you're never going to really catch it. Everybody on earth is inspired, but everybody on earth is not awake. They are alive, but they're not awake. And awake means that they are not focused. They're not aware of what's happening with themselves and their environment, but they are alive. You see?
Yeah.
To be awake means that you're responsive, you're really collective with your energy. You don't just let it shoot out anywhere. And you try to mind the field that's constantly bombarding you. And those things are called ideas. Some are real, some are not. So you have to catch the real ones to really like open the pod and see what's inside, what kind of seed is there to make it grow.
What if someone asked, well, then how do I become awake? What would you say?
Yeah, becoming awake means something it means a very powerful something that you actually have the energy and the capacity to want. You see?
Yeah.
You have to want something.
The intention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And the certainty of that is the proof of what you get. You see?
Your first album, at least listed online, is called Creative Music.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that phrase? I've heard you use it a lot.
Creative music is what I might say, though most people don't agree with me, and that's really fine because I'm only concerned with how I think. Creative music means any music where a person also contributes something of themselves to it. And I don't mean the physical energy of playing it, but I mean the actual making of the piece. You say, every performance should be whatever that ensemble size, be it quartet, trio, or larger, doesn't matter. Everybody should contribute something to it, and something more than just the fact that they're physically playing their instrument on stage, playing the music properly. They have to contribute something else to it. That something else, if you take it away, that is, you pull it out, extract it out of music, and just take the part that's without that contribution of those selves, you would find that it's a vacuum, it's a shell. It's like a spacecraft with nothing on it but space. You see?
Okay. You're a trumpet player from Mississippi and grew up in the 50s and 60s. Why not Art Blakey type music or Ray Charles and this kind of music? Why did you turn to creative music like this? Or the avant-garde or free jazz or whatever people call this kind of music?
Well, I play music. I don't play jazz. I don't play classical music. I don't play this kind of music. I play music. And for better or worse, I have tried to define the practice that I use, which I call creativity. And that's why I use the word creative music. Art Blakey, I'll go even further back, Duke Ellington, I'll go even further back, Sidney Bechet, Baby Dodd, they all play creative music.
Okay.
You see? And why? Because what they played, they were allowed to put themselves inside of it.
Obviously.
And everybody on stage had to put something in the bucket in order for the bucket to be what it was. You see?
Yeah.
So that's the dynamic. Critics, well, let me say it this way. In 399 or 395 BC, during the Roman Empire. It's recorded there that the word improvisation was used. And it was used for theater. And from that time over into the time after Christ, which Western world marks its time by, around the 6th and 7th century, it also in Rome, and it's street theater. Street theater. And then a little bit further down the line during the 17 and 1800s, okay, Russian and French theater people began to write and use that word. Music critics in America and in Europe co-opted that word from theater. It was never ever meant for music. And most people think that it was actually coined out of music. It was not. You see, it was all theater. There was no theories, no concept, nothing written about that up until the Russian and French theater people, like directors and writers, began to write about it.
I just see what you did as brave, and maybe that's naive of me. But you know, the idea, well, I want to be an improvisational trumpet player. Maybe I'll play in these jazz bands, or maybe I'll play in these R&B bands and stuff, for you to go out like you did, and all the cats that you were playing with back in the day. I just think there wasn't really a path for that. You know, we look up to that for inspiration and say, well, you can play this kind of music. But for you guys to do this without people having done it before, to me seems rebellious. Do you see yourself as a rebel?
No, I see myself as somebody that's normal.
Yeah.
You see, again, like we chose these moments. We say, oh, this guy's a genius, or this guy's a that. It ain't really actually true.
Yeah.
You know, the person is just normal.
Yeah.
And that normal has a range on it. It's as big as the planet. It's not marked out with little straight marks here and there. It's as big as the planet. Mm-hmm. Meaning that you have the opportunity to come into creation and hopefully leave a mark one way or the other. And that mark that you leave, hopefully it will be beneficial to everybody. Yeah. You know, that's what's important for me. You know.
Your bio says 5 decades in the AACM. Can you talk about the AACM for anybody who might not know what it is, and how profound it was as a collective, and what it meant to you to be affiliated with these people?
Well, the AACM has a 55-year history or so, maybe even longer right now. And those artists came together looking at opportunities of how you maximize your strength by being, you know, united, and so to speak. All of his work could be marked not as a collective, but by individuals. And the reason for that is because there was never a collective outpush or releasing of stuff. Everything in the AACM was done based by different individuals. Mm-hmm. Okay, it wasn't the intent, but that's how it kind of eventually. That's kind of what it was. Okay, and so the AACM was like this kind of let's say this kind of a community of people that most of them were already there, born there in Chicago.
Right.
You see, just a few of them, that's the Braxton, the Mitchell, bunch of them born in Chicago. But there was some outsiders that came through, like Lester Bowie, for example. Claudine Amino Miles, for example, myself, a lot of people come from the outside. And it was that immersion of those kinds of frictions because they do create frictions.
Right.
The social quality of the human being is always rooted in familiarity and who we know. And those frictions created this kind of mobility of ideas and possibilities of direction in which to go in. Because, you know, you got the insiders and you got the outsiders, and the outsiders look like they don't know what's happening, and the insiders look like they just doing the same thing. And so that kind of friction sparks out into something that's beautiful and blossom. And we don't know it until people start going out into the world and doing different stuff. And that's when we see that, oh wow, that's kind of how it should be. You say, particularly in a collective that's trying to find its way, which might have started out as a creative and economic venture, evolves into something that's far vaster than that. You say, because we can see it. We can see it in the wakes of Anthony Braxton, Henry Threadgill, Claudine Amino Myers, and a bunch of others, Roscoe Mitchell, Lester Boyd. All these people, when that chute opened up and we all went all different kinds of directions, the music then exploded. And it could not be contained just in Chicago. The venture into Europe in 1969 put that music into a place where you found people from Arabia, you found people from Africa, you found people from South America, all in the same environment, rubbing together with this unique kind of tension that made everybody shine brighter than they could ever shine if they had not had that experience.
Yeah.
You see. And then when we come back to Chicago, nobody could stay there. All of us left out immediately.
It seems like there's nothing like that right now. It seems like everybody's kind of like got their own website and that's it.
Well, it has changed, you see. It has changed. Like, for example, Europe has changed.
Yeah.
Okay. The thing now that would value powerfully what's happening in music is that we need to challenge each other. Okay. And to challenge each other, we need to create a similar kind of friction. For example, when you come off the stage and it sounds good and everybody say, oh, that was great and I feel good and blah, 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 you go home and go to sleep. That's not it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you come off the stage, you don't have to say nothing about what it was. If it went good, if it went bad, or if it went otherwise, you don't have to. Because that creates a certain kind of tension that causes everybody to start thinking. And that thinking is rooted into this idea of being, having the skill to actually see what you did by yourself and able to be critical of it by yourself. And it doesn't need to be expressed nowhere else, because the next time you get on stage, you're going to have a different kind of informative feeling about your nature. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to make that art. Once it's over, you're going to allow it to germinate and grow and create this friction.
Yeah, it seems like everybody's very polite these days. And I remember even when I first met you, you challenged me immediately and made me think in different ways and grow in different ways. And I really appreciate that. I wouldn't want everybody to pat me on the head and say, good job. You know what I mean? Push me, you know, tell me I'm wrong about something. Tell me I'm flat out wrong and make me think in a different way. That's how else would you learn, you know?
Yeah. Or even if you don't say nothing.
Yeah.
It's still, that's a powerful something.
Yeah.
Do you spend a lot of time alone?
I do. It's probably, even before the pandemic, it was one of my favorite choices.
Me too.
Because you find that, well, let's say it this way, we are social beings. Whenever there's two of us or more, we perform in a way that makes us part of the social stream for the moment.
Right.
And that's okay for a moment, but it can't be all the time, because if it does, then you got to find another way to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
I find, at least from my outsider perspective, but that you have this really deep, true sense of yourself, and it's hard to shake that. And I aspire to that. I feel like I'm being pulled in many directions, and really that there's at least three of me all the time. Could you speak to that? Do you find that's true within yourself? And if so, how do you keep that going?
Well, we all have multiple characters, no matter who or what we do. But, you know, basically, you set out to achieve a certain amount of work every day, and you just do that, and then the other stuff will fall away. It doesn't matter whether somebody called me up and say, oh, how you doing? I'd like to come down on Thursday and hang out. And I can say really easy that, well, I'm working on Thursday, you know, and what work I'm doing, well, whatever project I'm working on, that's what I'm working on, you know. And pretty soon, it kind of feels like they know and you know that you're doing what you want to do, you know. And the biggest thing is that you have to take the space to be able to work the way you want to work. No one gives it to you. No one. Your family members, nobody do. You have to always take it. And by taking it, I mean that you always have to make it happen.
It shows that you really value your work and you value yourself.
Yeah.
That's inspiring also.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to remember sometimes in the
Yeah.
world. We're pretty
All
much
right.
done. Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
When I saw you playing in Manhattan a few years ago in the concert I was talking about, I noticed in the string section you had some people that I went to school with in Cal Arts who are younger, and I was thinking, you know, I love that. I love these people, and I love that he's using them. You could get anybody you want in your career. You could ask anybody to play with you. What does it mean to you? Why pick younger people? Why pick people who are lesser known to play with? You know, the thing with Vijay, before he was mega famous, all of that. Why do that? Why reach down instead of finding people that have careers like yourself?
Well,
The youth.
let's take the people in Cal Arts. That string quartet. Everyone except Shalini. Shalini is the first violinist. I met her after meeting those other people. And they, including Shalini, before 2009, which is when I introduced 10 Priam Summer, they had been playing my music for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And that particular string quartet is called Pacific Red Choral. Now it's just simply Red Choral Quartet, okay? But it was originally called Pacific Red Choral. They are the most expert on how to perform my music.
Okay.
Golden Quartet was started in 2000, and it had a 20 it had a 20-year history. That group, Red Choral Quartet, they started in 2010 as the quartet, which gives them half the time. They are the greatest masters of my music. They rehearse by themselves. When I go to rehearse them and I walk in, they've already rehearsed the music. They just play it for me to get my approval or find out what technical problems that I should address in it. Okay. Only nobody does it. Golden Quartet had 21 years or 20 years of my music. They could never touch them.
Yeah. I mean, it's
And they were a
challenging.
good ensemble.
It's challenging music.
You
It
know.
is.
So, so people who are serious, that's my only requirement.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with technique, because technique is misnamed. You know, technique is how you do something. It's not doing something to do something. It's how you do something.
What would
Yeah.
you ask of younger people who are coming up, maybe even a 17-year-old kid who wants to do what you do? What would you ask of them or say to them?
Well, the biggest thing is learn how to express love.
Nice.
That's
That's
perfect.
the biggest. Yeah.
Wadada, thank you. It means so much to have you share all this with us. It really
Yeah,
does.
thank
and,
you so
and to be
much.
up here with you is a beautiful experience for us. So
Me too.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Let's make some
Now the
music.
nervous part's over. Let's do what we do.